Lesson 8 on page 71 covers roots. Roots are very similar to exponents, but also you can do these in the calculator a lot of the time, so that's convenient. Okay, but you just need to know how to do that. So on this first one, it says find each square root. Okay, so on this, because the negative is outside the radical, remember this is called a radical. This is a radical. So because the negative is outside the radical, my answer will be negative. And when I take the square root of 1.69, remember the square root of 169 is 13. So when I take the square root here, I would get 1.3. Again, you can use your calculator though, so this should not be any problem for you. And so negative 1.3 would be your final answer on this one. If you have a plus and a minus sign, both answers would be correct. So you would have the square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 144 is 12. And so your answer would be both positive 7 over 12 and negative 7 over 12. Both of those are the answer when I take the square root of plus minus square root of 49 over 144. Okay, remember that when you are taking a square root of a negative, that is not possible. You cannot take the square root of a negative. Remember though that if it's a cubed root, so if there's a 3, you can take the cubed root, because negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 still gives me negative 8. But there is no number that I can multiply by itself to get a negative number. So if I multiply negative 12 and negative 12, I'm still going to get a positive number. And so this can never happen. You cannot have a negative under the radical. And so you would put no solution, or none, or not applicable, or something that tells me there is no solution or no answer. Do not put 0. It is not 0. Put no solution or none. Okay, on these it says solve each equation and check your solutions. So when we solve, if this says p squared equals 36, to solve something that is squared, we would take the square root of both sides of the equal sign. So when I take the square root of p squared, I get p. And when I take the square root of 36, I get 6. Now, the only problem is when I have a variable squared, I'm looking for what the variable can equal to give me 36. And I remember that both positive 6 multiplied by positive 6 and negative 6 multiplied by negative 6 equal 36. So both of these are answers. P equals 6 and negative 6. You would have to have both answers for it to be correct. So on all of these that say a variable squared, r squared, t squared equals, p squared equals, all of these, both the positive and the negative, are correct answers because we're squaring a positive, which gives us positive, or squaring a negative, which also gives us positive. So here again, I take the square root and the square root. The square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 9 is 3, and so both positive 1/3 and negative 1/3 are my answers. They are both answers. If you only have one, you will not get correct points. You will only get half points. Okay, here again, when I take the square root of 6.25, because this says r squared, it's both positive 2.5 and negative 2.5. So both of those, I can put plus minus if I want. That means the same thing. Or I can put 2.5 and negative 2.5. Both of these are correct answers. However you want to write it is fine. Okay, down here, cubed root. We remember that in the calculator, to get the cubed root, we would either put it to the 1/3 power, or we would push the button for square root, except we have to push the alpha key first. So when we take the cubed root, or we can remember because we did memorize these in our heads in class. So the cubed root of 216 would give me 6. The cubed root of -125 is -5. And the cubed root of -8 is -2. Now you can check your answer, because if 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6 equals 216, I know I'm correct. If -5 multiplied by -5 multiplied by -5 equals -125, I know I'm correct. Okay, and then same thing here. -2 multiplied by -2 multiplied by -2 equals -8. Okay, if I want to check my solutions here, I would take the 6 and I would put it here for P. 6 squared is 36. Yes, that's a solution. -6 squared is -6 times -6, which is also 36. So both of those are solutions. And then the last one here, a cube-shaped packing box can hold 729 cubic inches of packing material. Solve 729 equals s cubed to find the length of one box. I really only care about this right here. It says solve 729 equals s cubed. I don't have to read the rest of it because my answer would be whatever I get when I solve this. So I'm going to do it the same way that I did up here. I'm taking the cubed root of 729. So the cubed root of 729 gives me 9. And so 9 inches, because it says cubic inches here, so inches would be my unit. So 9 inches. Okay, and that's it.